Ladies and gentlemen, we are now gathered to induct the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. You might want to say that the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame finally gets a little bit of an ego to it because our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame has a big ego and deservedly won because when I think about this past year, or as a matter of fact, the past several years, in his run in this great sport, he has certainly earned every accolade that there's been. Currently, he is the reigning, defending EBW World Heavyweight Champion for our very good friends over at Forever EBW. And we spoke a lot about that on Saturday's show with our general manager, the one and only Freakstar. We'll definitely get to that. He was also, for a long period of time in 2023, the EBW Pro World Heavyweight Champion. And we'll definitely get to that because the man that took that title away from him was inducted into our Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, the infamous Montana. We'll definitely make sure that we give some rather infamous or maybe famous comments or two from our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame when we address that in a little while. But where I got to know our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame most is from a company called DBW, Dominant Breakout Wrestling, where for 2023, the group, as I mentioned, Ego, ran roughshod over DBW. They were recently named Tag Team of the Year, and in addition to that, another one of their members, Roland Havoc, was for 1 year the World Extreme Champion. And the other member that they added to the group in DBW, the Blaze Ace Christian, is arguably pound for pound one of the premier up-and-coming stars. There's no question that our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame has got it all. He's got a Shawn Michaels moveset in the ring, but he does it almost in a way with his own flair. Not quite a Ric Flair, not even quite a Charlotte Flair, but he's got his own flair that is going to be making him remembered for years and years and years after he is inducted for the first of many times. I have no doubt, not only into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, but many other Hall of Fames. When I think about the journey, though, of our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, I couldn't think of a better person that would be fitting enough to be the final member of our fifth class and the number 50. The number 50, I always believe, is a number that's important because it's a nice, even number that you always remember. And I think about our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, and anytime he's in the ring, it doesn't matter who he's against, it doesn't matter what team he's against, you always remember what he did in the ring to deliver. Because that's, to me, what it's all about. When I think about the term, all wrestling matters, there is no question that you cannot deny the impact of the group Ego in the many other promotions that they have been in over the past several years. Whether it's our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, whether it's Roland Havoc, whether it's Colin Graves, they have all done it all, where individually and collectively, they have run supreme on any promotion that they have been. I have no doubt that we'll talk a lot tonight with our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, with a number of upcoming seasons ahead, especially this weekend, where we see EBW return, and also a couple of guys from a company that he knows and a company that I actually do some work with in GTS. We'll get to that. Forever EBW and DBW. But I think tonight it's important to note that we finally have an Ego into our Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. And we finally level up, you might even say. You might even want to say, ladies and gentlemen, with our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, maybe you want to smoke one in celebration. Maybe you even want to say, we've got a Prince that's here. After all, I mean, Prince is no longer with us. Why not have a Prince that's arguably just as good as what, well, that famous guy that used to do a couple of tunes or two that everybody still plays, whether it's Purple Rain, whether it's Kiss, whether it's Bat Dance, whether it's Let's Go Crazy. In many ways, ladies and gentlemen, our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, each time he goes out there in the ring, does his own Purple Rain in the ring. He does his own Graffiti Bridge. He does his own Kiss, his own Bat Dance, and certainly goes crazy, even if it's at the expense of all of the opponents that he squared off with over the years. 2023 was definitely one for the ages on Sportswire Radio. And in many ways, I owe a debt of gratitude to the group Ego, and along with our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. Because if it wasn't for Roland Havoc, I would not have had the opportunity to cover DBW, and I would not have had the opportunity to not only have our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame with us, but also talk about one of my favorite companies around, and that is all about the term All Wrestling Matters, and especially our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, who does that time and time again when he's out there in the ring. And I'm anxiously looking forward to his return, but also looking forward to what he has to say about that championship and some. Ladies and gentlemen, I can go on and on and on, as I always say, about our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame and our final member of our fifth class. Well, I'll certainly go on and on and on, but I think as your master of ceremonies, as I always do this time and time again, I would like to officially congratulate the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame and our 50th member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, in addition to that being our final member of our fifth class, the one and only, from 1/4 of Ego, the Prince Austin James. Now, before I officially congratulate you and officially welcome you with my usual introduction that so many of your colleagues have gotten, I want to say, though, that I couldn't think of a better person than only to be the first from the group of Ego in EBW Pro and forever EBW to be inducted into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. Certainly, I am sure the rest of your colleagues will join us in there. And the Blaze Ace Christian already joined you guys into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, everybody out there listening and watching. But I think at the end of the day, we needed to get a Prince to be inducted. And we wanted to set the tables before certainly Roland and Colin join you in history. But as I've stated, I've said enough. Since you are the reigning defending EBW champion of the world and also a part of the 2023 DBW Tag Team of the Year, which, again, it was no contest. There really wasn't anybody else that could have even come close. Not even many friends of Sportswire, like the Brooklyn Prodigies, the Stompers. It wasn't your moment. But now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to officially congratulate our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, our final member of our fifth class, and our 50th member, the one and only, the Prince, Austin James, 1/4 of Ego, the forever EBW World Champion. Now, before I do that, you know it's that time because everybody else has gotten it. The Blaze Ace Christian got it last week. Even Mr. Judgment got it on Saturday's show, and Chase Wakefield's gotten it. Brandon Costelli, the It Factor Cyrus, and so many others of your colleagues, and especially the man that took the championship away from you temporarily, some would say, an EBW Pro. The infamous Montana got that introduction. Austin James, it's officially time for you to get that introduction that you've been waiting for, I've been waiting for, and the whole world watching this right now is waiting for. So let's get right to it. So with that, wait for further ado here on the Sportswire Board. Number one. Global Sports Show. The newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. our final member of our 5th class, and from the Big 5-0, the 50th member. He is 1/4 of the Group Ego. He is the reigning, defending, forever EBW World Champion. They call him the Prince Austin James. The champ is here. And congratulations, my friend. You're officially now in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame.
Look, Tom, I'm highly honored. It's a blessing. Not many people can do what I could do. They wish they could be a world champ, but they can't. But
And that's
I
why you're in the Hall
appreciate
of
it.
Fame.
I appreciate it, Tom, 100%. And let's get to DBW. Who better? What better tag team ran through the DBW tag division for 504 days?
I don't know that
Two-time tag
question.
champions.
That's a good
First ever
question.
TLC winner. It's a no-brainer that we was gonna win the DBW Best Tag Team of the Year. And now, since we're going on the singles competition, it's just gonna get a little bit sweeter.
Oh, how sweet it is. Like I said, we are certainly having our own version of Purple Rain tonight. And you'll definitely, I have no doubt, go crazy when it comes to what we're going to talk about with DBW and, of course, our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. But obviously, Champ, it's always good to have you here. I know it's been a hot skip in a minute, but I have to ask the formal question, as I always do, because we've had so many of these now in our Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. And again, many of your colleagues, obviously Cyrus, Mr. Judgment, Ace Christian, though, of course, your buddy in DBW's group with Ego, certainly Brandon, Chase Wakefield, the Bitcoin billionaire, infamous Montana, the man you squared off with many, many times, and we'll get to him. But I have to ask you, though, formally, for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters, as your voice of all wrestling and your master of ceremonies who has inducted you into the Hall of Fame, Austin James, what does it now mean to you to officially be in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame?
Honestly, it means a lot. It means everything. Just being in the Hall of Fame in general. Because I started this with my father at the age of 5.
I remember we spoke
And,
about it the first time. We talked about what he meant to
and
you and everything that
just
you went through with that. Yep.
just to be a world champion and just to solidify myself in the Hall of Fame, I feel like I'm keeping to that promise. So it's truly an honor. I feel blessed.
Absolutely. And I think that that's really, before I come back to you, why I have, done the Hall of Fame and created it is because I do believe that there's a lot of people's stories out there that need to be told and need to be honored. And I think that's what it's about here in all wrestling that matters. And I think that everybody has a story. And I think that there are many reasons why so many great people should be in the Hall of Fame, like yourself. Yes, we have Dean Allmark. Yes, R.P. Davis, Luke Leyland. But the truth is, guys like you have really made this sport what it is today. You have put your body on the line. What you've done with Ego and DBW and EBW Pro and Forever EBW speaks volumes. And I think that that's why we wanted you in the Hall of Fame. We wanted you here. And I also got to think that, being in the Hall of Fame gives you motivation into what's to come, what we're going to talk about today, because there's a lot to talk about here. And I think that this is kind of a great time because you're going to be in the ring this weekend in EBW Pro.
Yeah.
And in Glock Cluster. Then we're going to talk about, obviously, Forever EBW is right around the corner. And DBW is right around the corner. So I think this is the best time to get you, champ, because if I don't induct you now, I might have to wait like 6 months.
Yeah, you might have to, because I'm a pretty busy man lately. It's a high demand of one of the best groups.
Absolutely. Listen, everybody, everywhere I go, it doesn't matter what company, what promotion, they always say, "Oh, wow, Tom, you know Ego." And I'm like, yeah, well, and they got egos and they deserve to have egos and they deserve to have all the people out there and pay attention to them. Yeah,
Well,
you better be busy these next few months because you guys are the premier group and everywhere you go. It's
yeah.
hands down.
What people fail to realize, they actually wake up from the rock that they're sleeping underneath and
The rock that they
actually
called
have
under,
a
yep.
brain cell. Yeah, and actually have a brain. They would actually see who was a part of hashtag Ego in the past. Guys like Chris Slade, Robbie Rain. We are a dominant group. We are known for a reason. That's why we're called hashtag ego, because we could back up what we say we can do and we could brag about it.
Absolutely, no question about it. Listen, what you guys have done in Forever EBW, what you guys have done in EBW Pro, and certainly the dominance that you've had in DBW, basically pun intended or no pun intended, in dominance, get a dominant breakout wrestling.
Yeah.
It's definitely warranted, and I think it's really cool that we're going to see you back out there very soon in EBW Pro, and
Oh, real
I
soon.
I guess, maybe I should get to it first. I know there's a lot of people. Hang on tight. I'm going to get to you. I'm going to get to some plugs. I got a pretty cool EBW Pro story. I mean, we were kind of talking about this off the air. I mean, I mentioned it a little bit in my speech, so I'm excited about that as well. But, we had a man that was inducted into the Hall of Fame last
Yes.
month that you have some scores to settle with. And we're talking
Major
about
scores.
major scores to settle. And you had said a couple things when he was here last time on Sportswire. And yeah, you might want to smoke one for this one because you're going to certainly, I'm sure, want to make sure that he gets as high as a kite and lit up in the ring from you
That
this coming weekend. That was funny. I was trying to be funny with it, but I am talking about
was
none.
hilarious.
I try. I'm working on my stand-up comedy in case I get canceled from Sportswire. But that's here nor there. But I am talking about the infamous Montana, the man that took the EBW Pro World Heavyweight Championship from you. He was inducted into our Hall of Fame literally just about a month or so ago. Now, I'm going to give you the opportunity,
Look,
champ, to set the tables for us. And what can we expect this weekend? And your response to me after all the things that Mr. Montana has said about you, and the floor is yours. And I pass the baton to you. And what would you like to say?
look, I give Infamous Montana credit. He's a real talented dude, you know.
Yep.
I'm not going to take talent away from him. He's talented as all hell. I used to call him my brother at one point. But then he had to scoop to a level like this. Had to get my brother involved. Had to hit me with a championship because he knows he couldn't get the job done. I had him right where I wanted him, just like I did at the last show in the street fight. I whooped him all up and down Gloucester, and I pinned him 1, 2, 3. What happened? I go back, I get jumped. That's cool. I'm with it. I got friends. Now this weekend, when I go and I see you, Infamous Montana, I'm gonna whoop you again, and I'm gonna pin you again. Cause it's not about the championship at this point. It's about me making an impact on you.
Mm. I found it interesting when Mr. Montana came on the show and he was flashing the championship that you held. And I'm curious about this because now it's
A
been.
champion I held and made relevant. I carried it from being an international regional champion to an international regional heavyweight champion because I am that talented. I took it to heights that none of the EBW guys in that locker room has ever sniffed. I took that championship and made it a main event champion.
Which I'm glad you brought that up because you saw him here with that championship and you've had now a couple of months to think about that now, just about 3 months. And, how motivated are you to go back into the ring this weekend? And I know it's not one on one, but it's still going to be a match where he's going to be across that apron from you. And I'm certainly, again, to quote Prince, you're going to certainly go crazy. I have no doubt when you see
Oh
him
yeah.
across that apron. But I mean, how motivated have you been to get back out there in the ring to kind of see him and maybe give him the receipt after some of the things
Look,
he said here on this platform?
we all know I'm with DB Dub. I had to take time off for a shoulder injury.
We're going to talk
I,
about
I
that in a
went
little while. Yep.
I went on, I'm a fighting champion. I wasn't going to go down without a fight. Everybody knows that. I go in and I get screwed. Out of being the kindness of my heart, I could have took the day off. You know, I could have, but I chose not to. Why? Because that's not who I am. And now, ever since I lost that championship, I've been focused. I've been having a target on his back ever since I've been in the rehab facility, rehab my shoulder. I've been keeping my eyes on him. I've been watching him. He thinks I've been sleeping and lacking and dozing off like half these guys in EBW. That's not me. Not one bit. I stay focused on my challenges. That's why I'm always a step ahead. That's why I am the prince. That's why I'm handpicked by Roland Havoc to be that guy. I'm at where I'm at because I can back it up.
Listen, I said it in the ring. You are one of the best out there, pound for pound. It doesn't matter if it's singles, if it's tag. I mean, you have your own flair that you add to the table. And you were, certainly, of a lot of comparisons, Jeff Hardy, Shawn Michaels, a lot of guys, Rob Van Dam, no question. You're in that league. But you talked about the injury. And we know that certainly was a factor toward the end of the DBW season. And we know that certainly is a big what if in terms of, I think, where you guys ended the season. But in terms of coming back here this weekend, this is obviously the first time we're going to see you in the ring, since the injury. I mean, you got to really be motivated to kind of show people and especially show him and even show your brother a little bit who's going to be across that apron. So you might, talk to us about how you're feeling. How's the rehab going?
It's going great. I feel like I'm at 110% again.
Good.
This time off is well deserved, well needed. I put my body on the line day in and day out for the fans because I love them and that's what I do.
And that's why we love you
Some pe-
too, because what
some
you
people
do.
hate me, some people don't, and I could care less about the
It's
people
good
who
to have
hate me.
haters, though. I will say this: it is good. You know why it's good to have haters? I'm going to tell you why, champ. Because it means you're doing something right, and it means that people are paying attention. So don't look at it that way.
Uh, I got a couple of haters, but I ain't going to bag on them.
Well, you could if
But
you wanted to, because we're live on Sportswire. People like that. They personally like when I do it, but I could certainly appreciate that. But again, I feel like though with this injury, we talked about it when you came on, a few months ago. But now that it's almost in the rear view mirror, I mean, this is the first time you're in the ring. I always say that first impressions are always the most important. And now you've got the biggest impression of all because this is going to set the tables for what you want to do. A, in EBW Pro, certainly in Forever EBW, and also in DBW, is that you want gold once again, especially in EBW Pro. And you want to prove maybe some of those haters and certainly prove to the man that took your championship away 3 short months ago at Mr. Infamous Montana that his title reign is only going to be temporary.
yes, look, me coming back and being motivated, it's for the group of ego. I felt like I let them down when I had to step away. I felt like I was stepping away from my family. I was turning my back on my family, and that's not what I do. I stand up for my family. I respect my family. I would die for my family. So when I come back, it's more than that. It's a family. It's a pack. I'm feeling motivated more than ever. I'm hungrier and I'm stronger than ever. And then infamous Montana, when I get my hands on you, that championship will be coming home to me rather sooner than later. But right now, I'm gonna make an impact on you this weekend in Gloucester City at EBW Pro. And it's gonna be bittersweet, Tom. It's gonna be bittersweet when I pin his shoulders. One, two, three.
Certainly somebody is going to be saying sweet dreams, that's what they're made of. But you said family, and before I get to some comments and maybe even award you with something, you spoke about family, and we're going to talk a lot about ego. We're going to obviously talk about Mr. Havoc. We're going to talk about Colin Graves. In DBW, we'll talk about the Blaze Ace Christian, who you're joining in the Hall of Fame, and
Yeah.
we'll even bring up the guy that you probably heard of, Freakstar. We even bring up, Matt Belcastro.
Oh
We'll get to
yeah.
all of them. But
Freestyle,
you
my
mentioned
my homie.
you got a lot of homies. Listen, there's no denying that. And we love ego. No question about that. But you mentioned family. And there's a guy that's going to be across the apron this coming Saturday. And he's a family member. He happens to be a brother of yours. And, I was wondering, how do you feel about that? And your brother is actually going to be across the apron against you. And he's aligned with Mr. Montana.
Tom, that hurt. It hurts. Honestly, it hurts. You
Yeah.
know, out of anybody that I could have expected, I wouldn't have been as hurt if it would have happened with, you know, for instance, if it happened with the Blaze or something,
Right,
They're
right, right.
not my actual blood. This is my actual family who literally stabbed me in the back when he knows my dream. He knows what I'm here to do. He knows my mission, and he did that to me. I can never, I can never forgive that.
Why do you think he did that to you? Why do you think that he did that?
I think it was out of pure jealousy because he can't do what I can do. Oh yeah, let me go around wearing a long coat and act like I'm an emo god punk. I no, it's all no. He's just jealous that I became a bigger star than he ever did.
Do you feel that he was in, maybe in a way, if I could phrase it this way, you tell me what you think, champ. Do you think that he's been living under your shadow?
Honestly, from day one, I never thought he was in my shadow. I thought
Right.
me and him was always equal.
But
I
we've
don't know
seen this
where this.
before. Listen, Brett and Owen. We saw it with Jeff and Matt. I mean, we saw it with the Dudleys at one point. We've seen it with the Usos. I mean, this happens
I,
time and time again in this sport. You know that.
I, I know that, but I really couldn't. I really didn't expect it. It really hurts because I really thought me and him was equal. I thought me and him had the common goal. Me and him literally came in with the same intent, same goal. We was tag team partners at one point. We just ventured off. I was with Ego. He had his little group. But now we're in the pro scene, we both had the same common goal to prove why we're here, prove why our family belongs in wrestling. But now he turned his back on me. I don't know why he did that. And I don't know what his intents are.
Well, Montana talked about the fact that, he was able to kind of outmaneuver you. He was talked about the fact that, he took something from you. You know, do you think that Montana had something to do with it? I mean, obviously had to have had, right?
He had to have had something to do with it. Because I don't see why my brother would do this other than to help him.
Do you
But we've
think
seen
that,
this before.
yeah?
And we've been through this before. One person's going to use the other. Bloods are going to be there at the end of the day. But when he comes back, this blood ain't gonna be there.
Mm. Well, you know what? First of all, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to actually go out there and get more information on EBW Pro and their first show of 2024, Bound for Luck, it's going to be coming up here on
Oh,
March 9th.
they gonna be need a whole bunch of luck that day.
Maybe they'll be wearing a lot of green because they'll be feeling blue from what you guys might do to them. But if you actually want to support EBW Pro and actually buy a ticket, you can do that on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at EBW Pro. There's always two different EBWs. We're talking about this
Yes,
EBW at the moment, so I want to make sure we get that correct. Make sure you
yes,
go
yes,
out there and support them. And it's about all wrestling matters. And obviously, we love everything that EBW Pro is doing. And also, EBW Pro is going to be in the same building that the guys over in GTS and Pro Wrestling Venom
yes,
were in,
sir.
including the Brooklyn Prodigies were there also. I'm going to get to something cool about this show in a few minutes, but I have a lot of people that are A,
Yes,
tuned in,
sir.
but also B, want to talk to you because you're a Hall of Famer now. So let me get to a number of different people. First of all, a man that was my first guest in 2024. You're going to be across the ring from also, and Mr. Jackson
All right.
Saber. Yep.
And look, we all seen what Jackson Saber looked like, right? Am I the only one that thinks he looks like Mr. Cobblepot of Batman and Robin?
I'm gonna say no comment because I'm gonna have him back on Sportswire. I'm sure with the DBW and EBW season, so I don't want to say anything that might be for or against in that because he's coming back to the platform at some point in the future.
Yeah,
So
I'm just saying, like, dude, he couldn't even last 2 minutes. He couldn't even last 2 minutes in a tag match against my brothers in arms. Hashtag ego the last show. He was gone within 2 minutes. He ain't nothing.
he does have a victory over Ace Christian though in DBW, your other brother in Ego.
Because of Casey James.
I'm not gonna go there. No comment, but I will say that listen, he's got a win over Ace Christian. Ace Christian is the 2024 VTW Reunion Rumble winner and arguably one of the old,
Exactly.
one of the youngest Rumble winners in history. I mean, I'm just saying.
Look,
So
eh, look. Ace Christian is making Ego proud. He's going over to VT Dub, winning Battle Royals, who getting a contract. He's in the main event title. Like I got my money on Ace Christian.
You
That's
know
why
what? I gotta
Hashtag
be
Ego
honest. I
invested
would
in him.
too. I gotta tell you the truth. I caught Ace's promo on the last BTW show, Love Sucks, and I gotta tell
Yes,
you,
sir.
I would definitely have my money on Ace too. And if you want to go watch the promo, go to VTW Wrestling on YouTube. But yeah, I think Ace is on another level. But Saber's got to win here over him.
Look, but I'll give Saber credit. Where credit's due though. He's actually good, but he ain't on my level.
Well, he doesn't have the ego. He might have been Golden Dynasty, Violence Unhinged. He might have been many different things. But right now, you're the one that's here, and you're in the Hall of Fame. I want to say hello to my buddy, Mr. Ethan Sorensen. Ethan is always with me on every show, and thank you, Ethan, for all of your support. How you guys doing today?
I'm do- I'm
Doing
doing
great.
great. I'm doing great, Ethan. How are you?
I'm here and I'm great because I'm in the people's house, and I'm here with a man that's going to put some ego finally into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, Mr. the Prince Austin James. So there you
Damn
have it. I'm
straight.
doing great. Want to say hello to a man that is your brother in arms, the one and only Roland Havoc,
Hey,
who I still wonder, when is Roland Havoc coming back to Sportswire? We got to get him back on here one of these days.
yeah, we definitely gotta get him back on there.
I'm glad you
That's
said
my
that.
mentor right there. That's
Yeah,
my mentor. This
good.
is for him too.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be covering DBW if it wasn't for him and you guys. So I want to give him a big shout, as I
Yeah,
always do. So I hope he appreciates that. I think he does. I think he likes me, right? I think he likes me. So I
yeah,
hope he
he
does.
loves you, Tom.
Oh, good. Well, I love him too. Congratulations, Austin James, on being inducted. Yes, you definitely deserve it,
Thank
and I
you,
couldn't agree
thank
with you
you.
more.
I really appreciate it.
Yes, Ethan's a good man and a good friend and a good follow. Want to say hello to Mr. Big Tex, who is the breakout star of the year in DBW. He's the big man in Big Tex country. He says, "Let's go, AJ." And obviously, I still wonder though, why is he aligned with Chaos Conspiracy? By the way, side
I
note, real
know.
quick. Side note,
What up?
I got a funny joke for you. I got a funny joke. Ready? All right. So I got to ask you this question. I haven't had you here in a while. There's a lot of people that are tuned in. I saw Jackson Saber up there in the comments. What do you think about Robert Pearson's haircut?
Oh my God. Oh, my bad, Tom. Oh shit. He
I think the
lit.
whole
Look,
locker room now has gotten this question.
I don't know what was going in his mind at that point. I can understand, doing the Lenny Poe chops. I respect that.
Yeah, me
But
too.
the
Me too.
haircut to make the haircut to look like Sheamus as well. I, why?
Do you think?
I, I
I got a joke. You ready? You ready? I got a joke. You ready? You ready? So
I
do you
love
think?
I love a good joke.
Okay. Do you think he was high as a kite when he got the haircut?
I think I think he was high. I think he was higher than me. Like and I
Well,
smoked the finest.
I'm friends with him too. But to quote Ozzy, maybe he was flying high again. Maybe he was just flying high again. And said, "You know what? I got to get
Or
my
he
hair."
was or he was on the real going off the crazy chain.
Or he was the song that was big when I was in school was Afro Man, Got High.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah, that was the
dun.
one. Maybe that's Robert Pearson. Maybe he doesn't want to admit
Yeah,
it, but yeah, I had to ask it, so I broke the ice a little bit. And thank you, Big Tex. We're going to see Big Tex either this
yeah.
weekend or next weekend on Sportswire. Obviously, it's also in the Hall of Fame. We just mentioned him.
Yes,
Obviously,
sir.
Mr. Ace. Now, Ace's haircut's a lot better than Robert Pearson's. Ace Christian's haircut, I
That
think, is
man's looking fly.
no.
He's looking
I
like
said,
$1,000,000.
well, he might be worth $1 million in 5 years when we see him in GCW, MLW. But at least the
Yes,
Blaze
sir.
Ace Christian's haircut, that looks like a haircut that's believable. I want to
Yeah.
give a shout out to somebody tuning that you know about. So I want to say hi to them
Yes,
with
sir.
Black Hearts. Thank you so much. Okay, because I like Ethan, he always asks the same question. Robert Pearson's here, by the way, so he heard those comments. But before I get to him, I want to say for you, I feel like I've asked this to you before, but you have a favorite match in your career.
My favorite match,
Good one. Yeah.
honestly, hands down, TLC. The TLC against Wrestling's Greatest Outlaws, Heretics, and the Stompers.
In
Honestly,
DBW,
hands
yeah.
down, that was honestly my best match. Honestly, I feel like that was my best performance I've ever done.
When you came off and the match ended, did you know it was the best match of your career?
Yes. At that moment, as soon as I looked up to my brother holding them tag team champions, and as soon as I heard that bell ring, I just knew it. We were the best, and we just did the unthinkable, and we proved that we're the best. At that moment, I felt like I was the best in that tag division.
What makes you and Colin Graves such a great tag team over the years?
Uh, just because most tag teams they just show up to the show and just tag and just say fuck it. You know, they don't actually spend the time and build that bond.
Right.
Me and Colin Graves has a bond. Ever since Roland Havoc brought us in the hashtag ego, there was never a dull moment where you did not see us without each other. We was born, we was together. Going on our own vacation, we was together. We was building bonds and working the tag team chemistry. What most teams fail to realize is about the tag team chemistry.
Hmm.
If you ain't got the tag team chemistry, you ain't gonna flow as fluent. That's why me and Colin Graves has been able to do it for 7 years consecutive.
Yeah, I've heard that before. I've heard that from different people, whether it's off the air or on here on Sportswire. That if you're going to be a team or a group, you've got to really be there for each other. You really got to like each other. You really got to kind of have someone's back. A successful
Yes,
team is those things. So I think it shows in the fact that you and Colin have had that obviously with Roland and his experience. I mean, his experience, speaks for itself. And Colin, what he's done, also his experience speaks for itself. So I think that's a great point that
yeah.
you make because I hear that
Colin's
often.
phenomenal.
Absolutely. Listen, and I want to make sure he hears this because he said I didn't say it enough on Saturday show. So, Colin, I want to make sure that you're hearing it tonight. I want to make sure you know it, that we love you on Sportswire and you're a huge part of Ego. And we know that one day we'd like to induct Ego into the Hall of Fame as a group collectively. And hopefully that'll be the moment where it'll finally sink in and say, you know what? Yeah, Tom does appreciate all of us. So I hope that you know that. So
Look,
definitely we love you and want to make sure you heard that. But Mr. Saber says I can think of one team to take that spot in the future. I wonder which team he's mentioning.
yeah, I wonder what team.
Well, speaking of Robert Pearson, he's here. Austin James, baby. Although I'm wondering what he says about the haircut comment, but I'll come to that in a minute. Want to say hello to Jacob Cassidy. Obviously, we got Chaos Conspiracy is all here. Want to say hello to my buddy, Mr. Michael Christian. Michael, funny story here. You ready for more laughter? He actually retired his ex-stepfather in the ring, the XCW senior Festus Davis. He actually did such a
Hey,
bang-up job
yeah.
in the ring. He actually retired his ex-stepfather. Maybe that's why he's an ex-stepfather, because he beat him so bad in the ring. No, we love Michael. Michael and Festus is great. Festus, as a matter of fact, is going to be inducted into our Hall of Fame Sunday night. And Festus and
Hey,
XCW, the guys,
congratulations.
you were great about them. He says, I know about family drama in the ring. He mentions his ex-stepdad. Haters gonna hate.
Don't,
Shake it off. Yep, definitely. Not to
yeah.
quote the Taylor Swift, Sean. Shake it off.
I
But
know, right?
family is one thing. I'm not a big Taylor fan. I said it on a show with Dan Stovko before, but different topic, different time. Family is one thing. You don't hit anyone harder than family. You will give
Oh
everything you
yeah.
got and nothing less. But I got Robert Pearson's haircut comments. I cannot wait for this. This is what he wants to say.
Let's
So
see.
here it goes. He says, yes, I was.
Yes,
Meaning
I
he was
was.
not when he got the haircut. I knew
Yeah.
he was on to something. On a side note, after putting the blunt down and clipping a few inches off my hair, my credit score did indeed go up. Is that true, really? That if you cut your hair like Robert Pearson did, that your credit score would go up? I mean,
I'm not sure. You know, I love my long hair. I'm not cutting it.
well, I mean,
I'm
I
not gonna find out.
speaks two of us. But I guess that in Mr. Pearson's case, the credit score goes up because you saved up all the money from maybe not getting the haircut. So maybe by spending a little money, you actually maybe raise your credit score because you actually spent on something. I don't know. I don't know the logic,
I'm not
but it's
sure.
here nor there. I'm not even going to argue it. I'm just going to go along with it. AJ, we have to tell the story of St. Valentine's Day Purge and the 8-man tag match.
Mm.
Want to talk about it? Because Big Tex is here. We're in Big Tex comment
Yeah.
country.
Big. That was actually the time I was wrestling for a company called RCW Renegade Championship
Yes,
Wrestling,
I heard of RCW. Yep.
and it was St. Valentine's Day. It was supposed to be an 8-man tag match. You know, Big Tex, uh, JT, Dynamite, me, and Colin Graves.
Okay.
But Colin had a show that day, so it was still gonna be an 8-man tag match Because all when one fails, we still have another. Won't have it. We call Won't have it. He came in, did the 8-man tag match. It was honestly the best. One of probably one of the best matches that I have, but not like the best because the TLC tops everything. I love that TLC match. Ain't nothing that I can do right now is gonna top it.
It's funny you said that the TLC and the first member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of
but
Fame, the natural born fighter RP Davis, actually wrestled in a TLC match, and he
when
said the
we
same
in a
thing. Yep.
but at St. Valentine's Day, Massacre, the Purge, my bad, Massacre. I got the movie mixed up, but at the St. Valentine's Day Purge, when Bone Havoc debuted it, we went to the back of the locker room and we walked out with big text and wearing like all Purge masks. It was actually pretty neat. And then we took on a tag team that is called Love is Pain.
Yeah, I've heard of
Cabot,
Love This Game.
yeah, Cabot Emmett Payne and Love Jones
Yep.
and and the Black Dawn, Lucian Wainwright and Sebastian Warp. It was honestly a good match. I loved it. And a team that I would love to work again is Love is Pain. Like hands down, like they were a great team. I love working all of them,
Yeah, I
but
think
I would
that.
love to work Love is Pain again.
Well, we'll certainly have to see. But before I say some things, Mr. Saber would like to give his credit score here on this comment. I will give credit where credit is due. Every time I've stepped in the ring with AJ, I know I'm going into a fight, and I welcome it. Ego and VU, Violence Unhinged, go to war this weekend, and we'll claim our spot on top.
Hmm. We'll see who really is the top faction, because many factions have said this time and time again that they're gonna put us down. But who's still standing? Who's still going strong?
Ego. That's why you guys have an ego. You get it? Ego.
Exactly.
Bump. Let me, before I present to you something on the air, I want to actually ask you something, kind of, going to things that some may say would be full of laughter. With EBW Pro this week, one of the reasons I'm really excited, Champ, about the show is that we're getting a chance to see some people from a company that I actually happen to know some people that actually
Yes.
work in, called GTS, and we're going to see the stepdads. I mean, you got to
Yes,
talk about this
sir.
to the audience because I'm excited about this, and
I'm
it's a
excited
pretty cool
too.
thing. So let's talk
You
about
know,
it.
it's like, dude, just having this stepdads, Bad Dad Bradley Belmont and
Yep.
Papa Bear Ray Kruger. They're a great tag team. Like I love the energy that they bring, their
Oh my God.
gimmick, their
And I just
characters.
watched
I
him
love
at
it.
the GTS Pro Wrestling Venom show in the same building, and he was
Yeah.
great. Oh my God.
And I love the way he's doing, making the Intercontinental the most prestigious champion in GTS. I honestly love it.
It's going to be cool, though, to share a locker room with somebody. And we're going to, obviously, the
Oh,
prodigies have been there, but,
it's going to be amazing, and I'm definitely going to get at least I'm gonna get as much knowledge as I possibly can from him.
what do you, I know you've been accomplished. I know you've obviously had a lot of success, but when those guys have been on a stage that's the seventh biggest wrestling company, view wise, actually, it was
Yeah.
quantitatively shown that GTS, everything that Grimm has done, it's the seventh most viewed wrestling company in the world. Number seven. I mean, to be number seven and ahead of companies like New Japan, Impact on YouTube, you're doing something right. What do you
Yeah.
ask those guys? Like, what do you talk to them about when you're in the locker room with them?
Like, what can I do better? Like, is there anything like that will get me to that next level? Like, that will help me increase in my craft, like help better my craft, help better my character, my persona, and what I'm trying to do. And sometimes I get answers from like really good, like they give me really good inspiration, and that's where I kept on thriving at is because I took up that knowledge that they gave me. Because yeah, I might be established, but I always have room to learn.
Oh, I
You
always say the
always,
same thing. There's always somebody to
you
be. Yeah.
always soak up the as much knowledge as you possibly can, because you never know when you're gonna need it.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more on that. And I was also curious with the prodigies having the success that they've had in pro wrestling, Venom, and you see them also grow, and they've obviously been a huge part of things in DBW. I'm going to get to DBW in a few minutes. Like, have you talk to them differently at all, and or have they the conversation since they've kind of started to really cut their teeth in places like Pro Wrestling Venom, wrestling on the Pro Wrestling Venom team? Have you talked to them in a different way since they've kind of broke out the last 4 or 5 months?
Honestly, I still think of them as what I did when they came into DBW. I think of them as family. I support them. I am proud of for them.
Oh, me too.
Just
Me too.
know, just know, sooner or later they might run into the best tag team. You never know.
No, I think that they will, and I think that it's really cool stuff. That's also
But
why you want to follow
I
Pro.
love what they're doing. I love the Brooklyn Prodigies. I love the like the enthusiasm. They're like one of the best tag teams, and I would love to actually get another tag match with them.
Well, I certainly
I
hope.
would feel like there's a wrong that needs to be fixed, and from DB Dub.
Mr. Saber would like to remind us that the beautiful thing about life is that nothing lasts forever. Ego is definitely in its better years, but like the Roman Empire, ego becomes a figure of the past in EBW Pro, immortal but irrelevant. Interesting.
That is interesting. What did you get your promo from Mr. Judgment?
Well, I don't
Like
know if Mr. Judgment wants anything to do with
really
Jackson
credit.
Saber.
Oh, immortal. Oh, let me tell you, filth.
Well, certainly Jackson Saber doesn't have the final comment here tonight. I can assure you that there'll be many more comments from him. We'll certainly see if Mr.
Man,
Saber will put people in
I'm gonna just leave
purgatory.
it at this time.
Yes.
Hashtag ego is always on top.
Well, you guys are on top right now because, I would like to, as the other people that have been inducted into the Hall of Fame, including Mr. Ace Christian, I would, if you'd only be kind enough to allow me to, actually present you something, champ, on the air that would actually show that you're officially into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. If I could bring it up on the screen,
Yes,
certainly
you
with
can.
your, well, I'm going to do that right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have it here officially as our 50th member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame on this date, March the 5th, 2024, the one and only Mr. Austin James. You got my John Hancock. You got our official title. You got my logo. You got the date. You got all that information in there in a bag of chips. And you have certainly earned it, my friend. And thank you for all you've done in this sport. And we'll certainly send this to you when we're off the air in a little while. But you have now officially earned your spot in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. I think it's a really cool number. 50 is a number you remember. It's like 50 you
Oh
remember,
yeah.
100, 20, 10, and you're a
Hey,
final member of our 50 plus.
Peyton Manning won Super Bowl 50, so
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, you know what? You and Peyton Manning in the same breath. I would say so. But I think you've actually won more championships than Peyton Manning, by the way. He only won 2.
uh, uh, so far I got one, but
But tag team championships and other championships, that's why I said you got the edge over
yeah,
Peyton. Peyton only won
yeah, that's
2.
true.
And
Yeah, yeah,
Peyton
you
didn't
got a
have
point.
And when Peyton won those 2 Super Bowls, he didn't play very good. By the way, he didn't have good games in
Yeah,
those 2
that's
Super Bowls
true.
with the Colts and the Broncos there. But
Yeah,
obviously,
but he had a good team backing him, so
no. Listen, the Denver team had a great defense. The Colts were pretty good, but you're more than pretty good. You're great. As a matter of fact, you're a
yes,
Hall of Fame. And now I'm
yes,
so glad
sir.
that the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame can finally have a prince in it with a little bit of an ego. And that what is Mr. Austin James. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, where all wrestling matters here. If you're on Sportswire Radio, I hope you give us a follow. We're on YouTube at Sportswire Radio
Yes, sir.
6579. So hit that sub button. We're
Follow.
closing on.
Smash that follow button.
Definitely smash it. But we're doing great, though. I thank everybody for all of your support. We've hit close to 600 subscribers now. We're also on Facebook at Sportswire Radio. I'm on Twitch at Sportswire Radio, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can listen to all of our great content on sportswireradio.org via the Listen Live button. If you have a podcast, if you have live music you want to play and share, I will do that for you. We have live coverage coming up here tomorrow at some point. Also to be inducted into our Hall of Fame, the general manager of the Alliance Wrestling League, Hillbilly Tilly. He'll be back here at some point tomorrow. I'm also here Thursday night with Jake Matthews of NEW, New Wrestling out there in Massachusetts. Another company out there does kind of similar things to what we see, like a Jimmy Controversy's company out there in Pro Wrestling Venom and, some of the other companies you see out there like TF Crew. So I'm excited about Jake's story. talking about his journey and more. But right now, we are here with our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, our second member in the DBW side of things here in Ego, the one and only Prince Austin James. Let me come back here to more comments. I got a good one here from Ethan. I got a good one here. If you had one opponent in GTS that you would like to wrestle, who would it be?
My dream opponent from GTS. Ooh, see, I can make a list. Jada Key Evans, Pete Corvus, um, Violence. Like that. There's a great. But if I had to pick one, it will be Jada Key Evans.
That's a great one. You know what? That's an excellent choice. That's a great choice. And, maybe I do have some, I don't want to tip my hand too much, but I do have some type of communication with Mr. Grimm. So maybe I could certainly talk to Mr. Grimm about you guys in GTS. After all, my buddy, want to give a big congratulations to my buddy Gabe Sayers, who is the owner of the TF crew. He actually just
Oh,
got on GTS's most recent show. So if Gabe can get on there, why not Austin James and the rest of the guys from Ego or anywhere else? So certainly my buddy Gabe is there. Also Angel Santiago, the Puerto Rican prince. Austin James is the prince. Angel Santiago is the Puerto Rican prince. But if those guys can be out there, I have no doubt that we'll see Austin James there very, very soon. If you want to follow Austin James, I'm actually going to pull it up here. Very cool. I'm going to do something very cool for you, Austin. I'm actually going to pull up your Instagram live on the screen. So I got something pretty
ah,
cool. Yeah, I'm going to pull it up here, trying to really work things out. So we actually have you here on Instagram. So if you want to follow a man that is chasing his dream, I think he's done that. He's been a
yeah.
tag team champion. He's been a world champion. He's been, everything else in between. And you can
Yeah.
follow him right there on that Instagram.
Oh,
Very
that's
simple
cool.
to the point. Yeah, I'm working on different. In fact, I'm even doing live commentary on Sportswire Live. So we're working
Oh
on different things.
wow.
I'm working on different things, and I wanted to give that a little bit of a presentation. While I'll pull up the EBW YouTube page and the DBW
Yeah.
YouTube page in a second as well, so people can share and go follow the heck out of that. And also, you can see some pretty cool stuff that obviously Mr. James was also in the PWI, and he's been in many other great outlets. So make sure you follow this man, support him if you're on Instagram. And there's the guys now. So cool. What a great picture. You and
I know,
certainly
right?
Havoc and Colin. What a nice picture. It's one of the better pictures I've seen to date. And obviously Ricardo Rodriguez. He made the Hall of Fame before he did here on Sportswire.
Yeah,
I got a good one though.
that was amazing.
I got a great question though for you, and I think I know now. I know who this person is, but to piggyback off Ethan, who are three competitors in EBW you want to face one-on-one, regardless of stipulation? And he also said he's a long-time EBW viewer, so now I know who I'm
Okay.
dealing with. But who would you like to face in EBW? Who are you three?
My three?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, Infamous Montana. He had what was rightfully
Oh,
mine.
duh, duh.
Uh, Iron Bull August
Okay.
and DVG.
DVG is a good one. DVG's a good one. I see he's also training out of the hat that you're wearing right now over there in Riot City. I see that hat
Yeah.
right. I saw that, and we had the man that kind of was a part of that place over there, Mr. Ron Holiday. We had Dan Stovko, who was on earlier before you, and he's being trained by Ron Holiday, and well, he's training DVG. So you know what? Maybe you could whip DVG into shape, and especially in forever EBW, where he's holding on to those tag team championships. Don't know if he's going to hold on to them too long if you guys have your way with them.
Oh, we're coming real soon. He just gotta keep them belts polished.
And maybe worry about whether if DJW is going to kill him next time. Yeah, could be. Definitely could be the case. Okay, we're going to certainly move off to that comment. But, we'll certainly see. And I want to make a big plug, actually, over to Forever EBW. So let's come back to Forever EBW. And obviously, Champ, we have Forever EBW ahead. And I think you froze on us. But,
Yeah.
well, there you go. Maybe we'll get you back out there right now. Okay. Oh, I think we lost you. We're going to see if we can get you back on here. Certainly, we're waiting for Austin James. Of course, he is the current Forever EBW World Champion, and you can catch him on Instagram at Austin_James 1998. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. Of course, your voice of all wrestling, where all wrestling matters here on Sportswire Radio. And if you'd like to give us a follow on YouTube, you can certainly do that in a number of different ways. First of all, you can check us out very simply, very simple, short, and sweet, and to the point. You can do that here in the link above because I've actually put it to the stage. That's our Sportswire Radio page. So if you want to see all of our shows, our prior shows, you want to see who's coming on, some announcements, prior stuff, go down memory lane. You can check us out. If you want to follow also some other different groups of note, you want to follow Dominant Breakout Wrestling, you can check them out on their YouTube channel. They got over 3,500 subscribers. Check them out. If you want to follow EBW, you want to support all things related to EBW Pro and everything else that they have to offer, please do so here on YouTube. I'm actually going to pull it up right on the screen for us. So you can do that right now. I'm going to actually give them another sub from my other YouTube account so you can check them out here. They've got a great show coming up here on March the 9th, this Saturday. DBW returns at some point, I would imagine, in the near and distant future. Forever EBW. And it was a great honor to have on the general manager, one of the longest tenured general managers in this sport. Freakstar was here with us this past weekend. I have no doubt we'll have a lot more Forever EBW coverage ahead. So if you want to follow Forever EBW and all the great links, you can do that here. Very simple, short, sweet, and to the point. But we are waiting for Austin James to return here onto Sportswire Radio. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. And again, if you are out there, we will have more coverage tomorrow to be inducted into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. Hillbilly Tilly, our first general manager from the Alliance Wrestling. He was an HCW standout out there in the Alabama area. And he is back by popular technical difficulties are fixed. There you go, champ. I'm going to pull this off the screen and see if we've got you back. Remove this off, which we just did. And hope your internet's going to work here for the remainder parts of the show. We'll be mindful of your time. So let's
And
talk
probably
about
that Antonio Arias guy. I've seen that last interview you did with DVG.
yes. And Antonio Reyes, he did come out and certainly try to hijack that interview, and it may not be the first, may not be the last. But speaking of things I want to talk about, Forever EBW, where Ego is just dominating and running roughshod.
Yes,
You've
sir.
literally got it all. And Freakstar talked a lot about it this past weekend with Forever EBW getting ready to return. Let's set the tables for what we can expect coming up from you and the rest of your cohorts in
Look,
Ego.
see, at the first show back putting Forever EBW, I got a surprise for all my boys. And
Mmm.
I got a big surprise. Me and Freakstar has came together on a little project, and I hope the guys love it because
Mmm.
it's gonna be huge. Because come on, if you look at this beautiful world champion,
Oh, what a
it's
beauty.
it never looked as good as this. Look, it even got the red leather backing.
Oh
It's
man, that
all
looks like
the
one of those.
finest.
I'll tell you what, that's one of those vintage old school belts. Got that great feel. And of course, Forever EBW is one of the longest running companies out there of any
And
type of wrestling. Yep.
who better than hashtag ego to be on top of the road? See, Fred Freakstar actually invested in the right group this time. He invested in the wrong couple guys like Chris Hayes, Wash Up Bum, Jacob Cassidy. Hey, he won the world champion, tucked tail and ran. He came back, tried to get the top spot. I had to show him where his place was. His little homeboy saved his life when he threw in the towel.
Yep. 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 So let
And
me ask
look,
you then. So what? So how has it been like working with Freakstar this time? I mean, Freakstar is obviously the longest tenured general manager, arguably in this sport. So how has that benefited Ego?
it benefited us a lot. You know, the pay's good. I love the pay. it,
Can't go wrong
it
with that.
pays being yeah, it pays to beat up people.
I could certainly, see that. And, also when it comes to the season coming up, you've got the championship and, is there pressure for you to, we spoke the first time about being the champion, but is there pressure going into the season to keep the title and stay on top?
Pressure? No, there's no pressure. You can't be pressure when you're a world champion. When you're the world champion, you gotta be cool, calm, and collect. Cause you go from the hunted to the hunted.
Yep. Yep. I said it here before in a prior show.
You gotta
Correct.
be
Yep.
the king of the jungle. Look, I give credit where credit due. Look at Mr. Judgment. Look at what he's doing with the world champ. He's
Oh,
cool, calm, collect.
he's got the amplified title too to boot. I mean, listen,
Like,
Judgment's in
come
his
on.
own category.
Look, I give Judgment where credit's due, but sooner or later his empire's gonna fall.
Well, some people say it could be due to his age. I don't know if that's the reason, but Judgment remains on top. But it seems like
For
you and
now.
Ego. But it seems like you and Ego though are growing in numbers in Forever EBW. I mean, will we see more
Mhm.
members? I mean, I think you guys are a gang now. Literally, you aren't a group. You aren't a team. No, you're a gang right now. You've got 5 members technically now.
Mhm.
Is there going to be 6? Is there going to be
Yes.
7? I mean,
Look,
I gotta ask.
right now we're doing what's best for business. Cause all these
Mm.
washed up people are trying to come back. Thomas Jacob trying to come back. Clemson trying to fucking be something. Cassie trying to prove that he's something. They all talk tail and ran, and now they're all trying to come back.
Why are
No,
they coming back then? Why?
because they knew they couldn't be anything without EBW.
I could agree with that because Forever EBW is one of the longest running companies out there, and if you can't make it anywhere, maybe that's they realize that the
Look,
only place that they could have success is in Forever EBW because they've struggled elsewhere, and maybe they want to try to make a name for themselves. But I think now in the current Forever EBW environment, they're not going to find that same luck.
mm-mm, nah, 'cause look, my home's DBW. I'll
I'm
openly
going to
admit
get
that
to
that's
that in a
my
few
home.
minutes. I'm waiting for that.
Yeah, that's my home. But EBW, that's my home too. That's my turf. That's where I grew up. That's where I became my first world champion. That's
Hmm.
my domain. And I'll defend that domain with all my life. Anybody who try to come in, I don't care if you're from VT Dub, uh, freaking, what's that, IMF?
IMF, yes.
IMF, fucking, I don't care where you come from. You can try to take this from me, and it's gonna be a bad day for you.
And the infamous Montana certainly ain't taking it from you in forever, EBW. That's for sure. Because he
Mm-mm.
got put in the body bag last time we saw him there in
Oh
that
yeah,
company.
he's done. Just like
Literally,
he's
he's
gonna be done this weekend.
so maybe he should he retire? Maybe pull his thing and retire.
No,
Why
he
not? Why
shouldn't
not?
retire.
Yeah,
Cause
save
I'm just
himself the
getting
beating.
started. I'm just getting started,
Not
Tom.
you. Infamous Montana should retire. Save himself the beating. Just not show
Nah,
up and retire. Shouldn't he
come
retire?
on.
Infamous
Then
Montana.
then that would be easy pickings. I don't. I'm like a lion. I like to play with my
He's
food
got
a
a
little bit.
family though. Maybe he's a family man. Maybe it's time to, think about, maybe doing something else and, not getting the beating in Forever EBW and EBW Pro. You guys are going to give him is what you're telling me pretty much.
Yeah,
All right.
man,
So,
I do agree. I agree with you, but I like to play with my food a little bit.
okay, duly noted. I give you that much. I mean, we'll see about what he does. Obviously, he's got his own problems. Your brother certainly has had an interesting relationship with him in different feds, and Saber's got his own problems in Forever EBW. You
I
mentioned
know,
Jake.
right?
A lot of confusion, a lot of chaos. You might want to say a lot of chaos going on in EBW. Is this the strongest Ego's been yet to date so far? You think in places like Forever EBW, this is the strongest you guys have been?
Yes. Honestly, yes. I feel like this is the strongest we have ever been collectively, and out of in general throughout the whole entire history. I feel like we're the strongest today.
All right. Well, I definitely agree, and I want people to follow Forever EBW in a couple of different ways. I think it's very easy to point out. So I'm going to actually pull up a couple things here that I think you can actually join and support Forever EBW. First of all, if you want to buy some merchandise from Forever EBW, here's a nice little plug for you.
Yes,
You
yes.
can go right now to the EBW page on Design by Humans. So you can certainly do that right now. So we're going to go like this and make sure people can check out the plug. So if you want to go buy some Forever EBW merchandise, check it, drop it. You got that ego shirt. Check it out. Go out there and buy it
Yes,
because
sir.
everybody needs an ego shirt. So make sure get
Everybody.
yourself a little bit of ego and go to designbyhumans.com backspace shop backspace EB Wrestling. So check them out. You can also follow them on Instagram at EBW underscore wrestling underscore Inc. Twitter and TikTok, Forever EBW. YouTube, Forever EBW 8539. And also on Facebook at EBW Entertainment Backyard Wrestling. They have been going strong since 1999. Freakstar has been in power for 21 plus years, and it seems like he may be on top forever, especially with his new allies in Ego. I would certainly want to tread very lightly if I'm the rest of the Forever EBW roster. And we are here with, of course, our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. He is our 50th member, our final member of our fifth class, and there's the one and only Austin James, who is the current Forever EBW World Heavyweight Champion. He was the former EBW Pro Champion. He's also been a multiple-time DBW Tag Team Champion and an EBW Tag Team Champion. So obviously I've saved, I think, my favorite for last, or close to favorite for last, because we love EBW as well. But that is DBW. A lot to talk about in the land of DBW. I have no doubt that we have a season that's going to take place here very soon. We heard from Mr. Judgment. We've heard from Castelli. We've heard from Wakefield. Your cohort in Ego, Ace Christian, last week on the show. So there's a lot to prove. Ego certainly didn't end the season the way we've wanted. So how excited are you to get back out there in the ring in the next month or so for DBW and kind of show why Ego is here to stay and will go back on top where they've always been?
It's, I'm. I can't wait, Tom. I really can't wait. I'm gonna be there at DBW because my show is 100%. I'm just gonna wait and pick my moment, though. People think I'm just gonna come rushing back to the gate. No, this is a different me. I'm gonna take this more slow, more methodical, because I'm gonna take what is mine this year. I'm gonna take what belongs to Hashtag Ego, and I got a point to prove. When I left them,
Mm-hmm.
I got a point to prove because I'm back now.
You talked about earlier in the interview going for singles gold in DBW. The DBW landscape changed dramatically at Merry Mayhem. We've got new champions. We've got
Yes,
certainly Aaron Jones, a well accomplished man. Cyrus is back in power again. We've got certainly Jackson Snow, a man that, he beat Roland Havoc. And we've got, you know, Azrael, so we've got, a lot of new faces with championships. Where do you guys fit into all of that?
where do we fit in?
Yeah, where do you guys fit into all that?
Well, I would say Havoc. Havoc's the best. We all know this.
Hmm.
It's not rocket science. The only reason why Richard Judgment has been world champion because he's been ducking and dodging Roman Havoc.
So
There's nobody better than Roman Havoc. Havoc's that guy. And then Red me and Conklin, we were the best tag team in DBW. 504 days, two-time tag team champions. I think we earn a right to at least climb the ranks to go for singles gold. I think we earned that. I think we earned the respect of that.
I would agree that there's no question that, you guys have certainly earned a keep in the world of DBW. But, it's interesting because you mentioned Roland Havoc and you mentioned him and Mr. Judgment. We spoke Saturday night and spoke a little bit about that. I mean, Judgment's had an amazing run the past, I don't know, 7 or 8, 9 months since he took the title from Scorpion the Assassin. But he's never faced Roland Havoc. I mean, is Roland Havoc the man that could finally end Judgment's reign in DBW? And you tell me why.
Damn right. Why?
Yeah, why?
Because if you go back in time, if you actually go back in DBW, Nobody has ever powerbombed Mr. Judgment. He faced Mr. Judgment in the triple threat anarchy match with James Connors. He lifted him up, no hesitation, boom. Almost had the 1, 2, 3. But we all know the outcome. James Connors won. No, but Havoc had Judgment beat then, just like he hasn't beat now. Just look at what we've done. We done took his son from him.
Okay, so
The last piece is that world champion.
I agree. I definitely agree with you on that. That it's something missing to Havoc's career. But do you think that Havoc can rebound after what Jackson Snow did to him?
Yes, I believe he can. If I know him like the teacher that he is, that he taught me how to be, he's gonna bounce back. Cause this ain't the first time he been knocked down like this. Yeah, he might be down and out right now, but he's gonna come back bigger, better, and stronger.
And speaking of Havoc, you actually want to buy some merchandise from Roland
Yes,
Havoc.
sir.
You actually do that. Boy, this is what we do on Sportswire. There's nobody that plugs like us on Sportswire because you want to buy some merchandise of DBW. In fact, you want to buy a number of different shirts and information. You can actually do that here. No, you're not going to buy the Jackson Sabre shirt, especially when Mr. Austin James is here. But if you want to buy some merchandise of some great teams, Ego's certainly got a shirt. How about that shirt, especially with the
Yes,
weather?
sir.
Change a little bit. You get a nice little one here. You can get it in green. You can get it in black. So if you want your Ego shirt and look like your favorite stars, like Austin James, like the Blaze, Ace Christian, like Roland Havoc, like certainly Colin Graves, you can do that. But let me ask you a question. And you mentioned Roland Havoc, and I agree with you. Havoc and Judgment is one for the ages. A lot of people would like to see that. As a fan, I would like to see it, and I want to talk about it on Sportswire Radio. But
Yeah.
Judgment, when we brought up Roland Havoc, he gave him his props. He certainly respects him. But he was more focused on a guy named Aaron Jones, the current Hub City champion, the man that is, he's lockstep with some big names in this sport. He's the VTW world champion. He's the one-man revolution. He is really, some would say, the dominant force in this industry. And there's some unfinished business that Judgment has with Aaron Jones.
Look,
So why not Aaron Jones rather than Havoc? I mean, Aaron Jones seems like Judgment was more upset about him and after what they went through in the ring with some guy named the Barbarian about a month and a half ago. And oh, by the way, they wrestled actually last weekend in a company called Amplified and Enterprise Wrestling. So I have to ask you, Austin James, why Havoc but not Aaron Jones?
because I respect Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones
Yes,
is
I think
the
everybody does.
last
Yep.
boss, like he's the last real boss man of
Yep,
professional
he's the
wrestling.
last real boss man. He's the one-man revolution he used to go by. He's a true
Like,
throwback. I agree with you.
no, like he is that guy. I honestly, hands down, he's one of the greatest. I believe that. But Aaron Jones should be focused on that pretty little championship around his waist more than he should be focused about Mr. Judgment.
Judgment put his hands though on Aaron Jones at the end of the season. He put his hands on him. Aaron Jones is a tough guy, like a Roland Havoc, is a real throwback. And
I get that, but Aaron Jones, I respect Aaron Jones, but I'm gonna just give a word of advice. He ain't got the backup like we do to take on Divinity.
fair point. I would agree with you on that. And
Look,
maybe you're
I,
motivated now for
I know. Well, I know Roland Havoc's a fat guy. So once we take down Divinity and Roland Havoc wins the world champion, I know he'll be more than willing to give Aaron Jones a crack at it.
Oh, I think there's a lot of mutual respect between the two of them. I'm not saying that. Those guys, definitely respect each other. 1,000%. I was just looking at it from the context of, does Aaron Jones get the shot first? Judgment seemed like he was more focused on him rather than Roland. But, I think also you
You
guys.
know what?
Oh, yeah, go ahead, jump in.
Uh, to be fair, yeah, Judgment did throw the first punch on Aaron Jones. So technically he would have press claims, but it's not a fight worth fighting if you ain't got the members like we do.
And I was going to say that you having Ace Christian right now on the run of his career, winning that reunion rumble, and now all of a sudden a guy that, has jumped up the ladder, that's got to give you guys also a lot of confidence going into this season, because now you've got somebody that, he's primed and poised for things, and that could help you guys maybe, get some revenge on Divinity. Obviously, Colin's going to be motivated this year. Colin's got a lot of things he wants to say, so that's got to motivate you guys as well.
So yeah, it motivates us a lot. But go. I'm just at this. And Jones, he can have judgment play, but he's gonna realize what everybody else before him realized. He's gonna fall victim due to the number game.
Could certainly be. Also, here I want to give
But
a congratulations.
I'd be more concerned about that Hub City Championship if I was him though.
Yeah, you know what? That was Navon McDonald's championship, and Navon McDonald is a man that is very well traveled as well, and we don't know what the future is with that, and we'll see what the real boss man has to say. But before I ask you a couple of other questions on ego, Mr. Omen Black would like to give you a congratulations. He congratulates you on being into the Hall of Fame, so he says congratulations. We
Thank
certainly
you, I'm in black.
appreciate it. Very
The
cool.
one
Very
time you can actually be a good guy.
well. I mean, you know what? We'll certainly see. That'll be stay tuned for that, but that remains to be
But
seen. But
nah,
yeah,
I like Omen Black though. He's a good guy.
oh,
He really is.
well, it's his show actually, and I like Omen too. I like everybody because we're about all wrestling matters, and I always certainly look forward to when you come on and everybody else does. I'm also curious with the injury. We spoke a little bit about at the beginning of the show,
Yes.
but as we're toward the end of the show, how excited are you now to recover and get back out there for DBW next month? Because that's your home. You said it yourself. That's your home. That's your home
That,
company. How excited are you to get back and be 100% in your home company in
dude,
DBW?
I'm excited. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. Like that feels like I'm doing it all over again. Like it really does. Like I get goosebumps just thinking about it. Just right around the corner.
How
Like
motivated are you to be out there?
motivated. I feel like I got like this is the most motivated I have ever been in my whole entire life. Coming off this injury make me realize life in a different perspective and what I need to do and what I need to accomplish to make my dream a reality. This is just first of many.
What will it be like when you step back out in the DBW ring this season? What will
It's
that
gonna
first
be
moment?
it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. I'm gonna tell you that. It's gonna be real crazy.
Oh,
But I'm
and
not I'm not gonna go back to doing all that crazy. You're gonna see a different me.
why? Why a different you?
Hey, some things need to change over time. It's like a it's like that it's like fine wine. Gets better over age.
Well, you also have to change in order to continue to do what you do. We mentioned in the speech tonight before we move on to final thoughts is that
And it's all about the longevity.
I was about to say, we talked about Shawn Michaels, but Shawn Michaels, in order for him to have had that great second run, he changed who he was as a wrestler. We talked about Ric Flair. Ric Flair had to change as a wrestler. All the guys that hang on, longevity is key. In order for you to continue to be who you are and show why you're the prince, why you're the guy that's part of the ego, yeah, you might have to change and do things a little differently. And I think that that's why we're all excited for the season to kick off here in DBW coming up here. And, Colin again, I think Colin's going to have a big year also. I think Colin's going to
Oh
have a really
yeah.
big year.
He's the best Pac 14 champion. There's nobody better than him. And
Yep.
he's gonna make that championship the most prestigious championship in EBW, just like I did with that IR championship.
Yep. You guys, listen, you guys have got it all. There's no question tonight, whether it's an EBW Pro, we're going to see you in the ring this weekend, coming up in that 6-man tag. It's going to be VU against Ego. We're going to see you back out there in Forever EBW coming
Yes,
up here
sir.
in the near and distant future. DBW coming up here in the near and distant future. And, I wanted to say it before we go off on the air. What do you think about your brother coming on to Sportswire Radio, Sean Newman? What do you think about that? What do you think?
He can have his little moment. He can have his 15 minutes of fame, as we like to call it, Tom.
Oh, oh,
He can have his 15 minutes of fame, just like Montana did, and just like Saber did. Because by the end of this weekend, they're gonna be dead bodies just lying in the middle of the ring,
to quote Drowning Pool, let the bodies hit the
hit
floor.
the floor.
Something's got to give.
Mhm.
Something's got to give. It's been an absolute honor to have you. I want this a few final thoughts, but before I do that, what is your final words before this weekend for Violence Unhinged?
Violence Unhinged.
Yeah.
Be ready. Bring your A game. Because if you're not at the top of your game, we're gonna walk in there like a pack of wolves and eat you alive, limb from limb, and we're gonna prove why you don't belong in the same ring as us, and that you are not on the same level as us. And sooner or later, Montana, I'm coming back, and I'm gonna be dope strapped again.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've heard a lot tonight. Heard a lot from Austin James. Heard his side of the story on what it means to him to be in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. But we also talked a lot of current events. Ego very well could be on top for decades to come, whether it's in EBW Pro, Forever EBW, and they're going to be back on top in DBW. But I also learned that the Forever EBW World Champion is not relinquishing that title anytime soon. The EBW Pro title, temporarily held by Infamous Montana, was inducted into our Hall of Fame last month. He's only going to be hanging on for that for a little while longer. And in
Little
DBW,
while.
if you're the likes, even of Mr. Judgment, the Heretics, if you're certainly the likes of even Cyrus, the It Factor, or even Aaron Jones, you've been great,
They all got a target.
but you got targets on your back. You guys are the hunted. You're not the hunters anymore. And Ego now could be very more dangerous than they've ever been at any point in their career in DBW because now they're the ones that are hunting you guys as champions. And with the Blaze Ace Christian, Colin Graves, Roland Havoc, and of course, our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, our final member of our fifth class, our 50th member, and of course, the man from Ego himself, the Prince Austin James. You guys should certainly be treading very, very lightly. And I'm not quite sure what the future will be in store for you guys. And I can't wait to see all of these seasons to take place and start. EBW Pro returns this weekend in Gloucester, New Jersey, with Bound for Luck, Forever EBW, and DBW to return in the near and distant future. Stay tuned to their pages for more details. Facebook, Dominant Breakout Wrestling. YouTube, Dominating Breakout Wrestling. Twitter, DBW Wrestling. Also, check them out on bonfire.com. You can go to backspace store, backspace dominant minus breakout minus wrestling, and go get your Ego shirt, DBW shirt, like I have or anybody else's. It has been an absolute honor to have you, my friend. And I couldn't think of a better person to be inducted as our final member of our fifth class in the big old 50 into the Sports by Radio Hall of Fame. So, champ, I turn it over to you. I want to give you the floor. Anything else you want to plug, share, or say? The baton is now passed over to you.
Oh, and if you want the latest Arts and James Prince merch, go to the Bonfire Walking Nightmare Collective.com. You can get the latest Austin James shirts along with some Violence Unhinged t-shirts.
Oh, good. I'm going to make sure that we do that. I don't think that's on the DBW store, but I'm going to,
It's not. It's something my brother started,
okay.
but
Yeah, DM me that link, and what I'll do is I'll put that in for next week. So I know we're going to have
I
some
got
guys, and
you.
I'll make sure to put that in the link. And anything else you'd like to say before we sign off tonight?
And if you guys haven't already, subscribe to this man. He's the #1 podcast in the world.
I appreciate that.
And
It's funny you said that because there's actually now, and I really appreciate this. There are now people that are starting their own shows. We have a guy, C2K, who's in our Hall of Fame. It's C2K Talks. We've got this guy, Skulls. It's Skulls Talks. We've got this guy, the Wolfpack Hour, this guy, Tyler Ark. So it seems like now that there are like these other shows that are starting out really because they watched what I've been doing for 5 years. So it seems like, I should retire. Maybe I should retire. Maybe I should just give this up. Maybe
No,
give it to somebody else. Maybe you should take over.
nah. I'm good. I'm happy with doing what I'm doing. I'm very happy and very
I
pleased.
tried. I
But
tried. Well,
on one final note, if you guys are in the Gloucester City, New Jersey area, and if you guys ain't doing nothing, absolutely nothing, and you got nothing to do, get your asses up, get your family together, and come out and go to the EBW Bound by Luck show. You're not
you know
gonna
what?
miss it. You're not gonna want to miss it.
I wish that I lived just a little closer from Gloucester, because unfortunately Gloucester is more toward like the Philadelphia area. If it was more like
Yeah,
down, let's say my mother lives in not Perth Amboy, it's South Amboy, which is basically right off the outer bridge in Staten Island. If it was in South Amboy, listen, I would make the trek no problem. But
yeah,
unfortunately, it's in Gloucester. But if you are
yeah.
in the Jersey area, like Cherry Hill, if you're in Jackson, if you're in Pennsylvania,
Then
come
yeah,
on down. Even if you're in Delaware, come on down and hang out and watch EBW Pro's first show of the year in 2024 in that main event, the six-man tag. You're going to see Austin James. You're going to see Roland Havoc. You're going to see Colin Graves against Violent Unhinged. Certainly Jackson Sabre, Sean Newman, and infamous Montana for now, the EBW IR champion. But something tells me here, when Ego and Violence Unhinged locks up, it's going to be something like forces we've never seen before. It very well
yeah.
could be like Purple Rain. It very well could be like a graffiti bridge. I know one thing, though, despite all of that, it's going to certainly be where everybody goes crazy in the ring and watching it from the outside. That's why you want to be there or be square. My friend, it has been an absolute honor to have you. I can't wait to have you back
Thank
on in the
you.
near distant future. I can't wait to hear your brother's side of the story here in the next few weeks. I'm looking forward to that. We'll see what he has to
I'm
say
looking
versus
forward
what you
to it.
did. But congratulations. Thank you for all that you've done in this sport, making it about all wrestling that matters. I can't wait for the DBW season to start. I can't wait for Forever EBW to start. And thank you for all you've done. It's been an absolute honor, and I can't wait to see you back on here in a few months.
I can't wait. I'm very honored. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, everybody watching. I appreciate it. Hmm.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, you've now heard it here one more time. Our final member of our fifth class in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, our 50th member. He is the forever EBW heavyweight champion of the world. He is also a part of the DBW Tag Team of the Year. That was a no-brainer. That is Mr. Austin James, and he concludes our fifth class in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. And to kick off our sixth class tomorrow at some point, Hillbilly Tilly, the Alliance Wrestling League general manager, former HCW champion of the world. He is also our first general manager to be inducted in Sportswire Radio history. He'll be here at some point. You'll definitely not want to miss what he has to say about AWL and Gold Rush and everything that's coming up related to the world of the Alliance Wrestling League and more. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of World Wrestling. World Wrestling Matters. And if you're on SportsWireRadio.org, you're going back to your regularly scheduled programming. If you're on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, I'll be back tomorrow. Again, at some point, stay tuned in the afternoon for more details. But until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. On the number one global version that is Sports Wire Radio, where Ego and Austin James reign supreme for now. Thank you, everybody. I'll see everybody tomorrow.